and welcome to Behind the Judging Panel, an exclusive look into the Data Center World Awards 2025. Each year, the Data Center World Awards celebrate the very best in design, creativity, and innovation, recognizing the trailblazers who push the boundaries of what's possible. Ever wonder what the judges are looking for? What sets a winning entry apart from the rest? In this series, we're pulling back the curtain to show you exactly how your work is evaluated and who the experts are behind the decisions. I'm Rebecca Uppendell, tech reporter at Techorati, and today my guest is Astrid Wynne, Head of Public Sector and Sustainability at TechBuyer, and judge for 2025's edition of the Data Center World Awards. So Astrid, how do you think the Data Center World Awards contribute to fostering collaboration and knowledge sharing within the industry?
I think that the Data Center World's Awards contribute to innovation and understanding and collaboration because they focus on what's new, what's interesting, and what's best. And that enables the sector to speed up improvement at a time it really needs to do that because of what's happening more widely in digital.
As the data center industry evolves, how has the Data Center World Awards adapted to stay relevant and reflective of current trends and challenges?
So over time, the awards have added new categories to reflect the issues that are happening in the data center sector as a whole. So notably AI has now got its own category. Workforce development's always been in there. That's a focus. It's an issue in the industry. And then other issues like security of tech and sustainability was always in there, but it's honed over time. So it's evolving with the industry.
Of those categories that you said that are now new to the awards, what do they reflect for the current direction of the data center industry and what's on the horizon maybe?
On the horizon, specifically called out by the categories in the awards, are, for example, the security of tech. We are in a phase of global insecurity, and data centers or data runs everything in our countries and in our societies. So they're really in the crosshairs of something that you, if you were in conflict with somebody, it would be a target. So making that secure is really of paramount importance. AI excellence is really where it's at the moment. All the impacts associated with data centers and with digital have now been put on steroids by what's happening in AI because it's having an exponential rise in energy demand. It's responsible for an exponential rise in water demand. And it's also making data centers compete for technologies like carbon capture in a way that they haven't had to before. And that's going to create an issue. So you need to understand all that when you're developing AI and best practice in AI. And then Tech Product of the Year, that reflects the fact that, energy is becoming more precious as a result of increasing energy demand. The way that we handle emissions is more key as time moves on, and Technology Product of the Year enables people to come together into the sector and have the supply chain involved and how they can help with some of the issues that the sector is facing.
Fantastic. And with the introduction of these new categories, do you anticipate a broader range of companies or projects participating in the awards? And how might these categories encourage new players or smaller innovators to showcase their work?
I certainly hope that we see a wider breadth of companies, and I certainly hope that we see more innovators and small companies encouraged to apply. I'm hoping that as the Data Center World's Awards move forward, that they become more widely known about and a wider range of companies apply for them. And that reflects the fact that the data center world in general and the data center sector is not just about data centers. It's about an increasingly large supply chain and an increasingly diverse supply chain. So whereas before it might have been load balancers or data center builds or construction companies, we're now looking at a whole host of innovation on carbon capture, on reducing noise emissions, on filtering out the emissions from backup generators, on sustainable product solutions for waste and all the rest of it. So yeah, I certainly hope that we see a wider impact and more companies coming forward to say how they can help with this.
As a judge, what is your approach to evaluating submissions? What key aspects do you prioritise after reviewing entries for these awards?
So I'm focused on sustainability. And so what I like to see is that people have properly assessed the risks, properly assessed the background, created and explained their approach to these risks or these opportunities, and most importantly, quantified impact. So with sustainability applications, I like to see something that's more wide than just energy efficiency. You know, have they reflected other relevant impacts, for example, water or materials usage or waste or emissions or noise pollution, whatever's relevant to their product or whatever their situation? Have they assessed that, and have they articulated a sensible approach to that, and then measured how effective that approach is? And then if they've gone over and above and then used those numbers to influence behaviour change, then that's amazing. But I just want something that seems like they've looked at it, they've understood it, and they've articulated a response.
And as the data center industry is rapidly evolving, what trends do you see as the most transformative for the industry in the coming years?
So the trends that I see as most transformative from a sustainability point of view for data centers, first of all, front and center is AI, because of what's happening. Like I've said already, it's water and energy usage on speed, on steroids, and the knock-on effects of that are huge. We've got risks on energy supply full stop, and that's green energy supply as well as fossil fuel based energy supply. We've got that leading to competition for green energy in a way that potentially there wasn't competition before. You've got a narrowing supply chain of energy supply and also other resource supply. You've got problems around that, and you're going to have find efficiencies, not just in the way that you've usually done it, but also get more creative than that. And the same goes for water. And as a result of that, I think we're going to see that data centers are more front and center of societal development. Data centers are going to have to articulate the fact that they're bringing a net positive to whichever area they enter. And that means combined heat and power, which is fairly well known about in the sector at the moment. How can we take that massive heat generation from a data center and make that a social benefit to the local communities, to desalination plants and all the rest of it? I think you're also going to have to articulate value in what the benefits of compute are into the society around the data center, and how you can help with that, how you can use that to develop greater efficiencies in farming, for example, in rural communities, because there are benefits of AI there. How you can use the offcuts or the heat generated by the data center to potentially purify water, or do something else that not just mitigates the effect of data centers, but creates a net positive for the society around it. And then, because that's necessary, I think you're going to see a lot more cooperation between data centers and local and national governments in order to make that happen. And I think you're also going to see a lot more cooperation between the data center sector and other sectors as well. Heavy industry, notably finance, notably, and potentially other industries that can give us signposts into best practice in a way that we haven't seen before. So any industry like defence that uses digital twins, there's probably cross-learning there. So I think you're going to see a lot more integrated, an integrated network for data centres, rather than them being some largely unknown about and largely understood sector that just generates compute.
Can you summarize the Data Center World Awards in 3 words?
Home of excellence.
Wow. Well, what a great tagline. We might have to use that. Thank you so much, Astrid, for your comments. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next year at the Data Center World Awards.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to it too.